Well, I've got just a little bit more tweaking to do on the irons from these rockers that have been through the wreck, and I think we're going to be able to put this together. You know, it's very common when somebody comes in the shop and I'm working on a coach like this and they have these rocker assemblies underneath. Their first thought is, oh, you must be working on a sleigh. I guess you all know better than that. We're going to put this rocker assembly together this week. So I've got this rocker. This is the one that was on the right side that took the bulk of the blow. I have it set down on a piece of heavy iron, and this iron is 4 inches wide and it's an inch thick compared to our 2.5 inch wide and about 3/8 thick. So this gives me a stable base which to clamp this iron to. So you can see it has a bit of a rock because this is out of alignment. So if I let it go to where the rear flat portion sets down on this flat, you can see we kind of list to the right here. And if I bring it down to where this one sits square, it actually lists to the left a little bit. So I brought this square up, so hopefully I can show you that when I have this down on this end, which is going to be the front of the coach, see, we're about 3/8 of an inch away from that rocker being square. And if I let it go to where the other end is, you can see I'm out of whack here, down here at the base. So this whole thing is just not setting square. Somewhere I need to be in the middle to get this to line up where it actually stands straight. So I think what I'm going to try to do is I'll clamp this end solid. If I clamp that end solid, it's going to want to pull the opposite direction. And with both ends clamped, I'm going to see just where this is as far as square. We'll actually kind of put these two ends in opposition to each other, but maybe it'll balance out and possibly I can just anneal it and find the happy medium. We'll see how that works. So they're kind of fighting each other right now, but maybe that'll give us a balance. Probably got an 1/8 inch max, less than an 1/8 inch. So that actually does work pretty well. So the thought would be, well, if I just bolted this to the frame of the coach body, I would end up with the same effect, but it would be constantly under pressure, under strain. So I'm going to take the torch and I'm going to heat up right in this area on both. Now if I heat up this area first and leave that one cold, one's going to give, the other one's going to win. So somehow how do I heat these both up at once? But we're still leaning a bit to this direction, which is where this end wants to pull it this way. So if I heat this end first, that end is going to overpower and allow it to pull into it, which we have that 1/8 of an inch. So if I monitor it with my square and heat this up until I come back to that 1/8 of an inch, leave it there and then go back to that end, which this end is going to want to pull it the other way, but possibly relieve the pressure there. And if I do that back and forth while monitoring my position here, I think I can get it to where they'll give and take and end up with the main portion of this rocker straight where it's supposed to be. Let's move past my 1/8 inch yet. We're about right there. I'll go to the other end and heat that end up. So I'll check my measurements there. So right there, we're awful close. We're 32nd maybe. We're close enough. I'm going to let that cool both ends, take the clamps off, and then we'll just see if it stays right there. Yeah, we're down to where we're just a little warm. We're just right there close. We'll see if it'll just stay there. See it move just a fuzz. It wanted to pull that way just a bit. It's still not flat. So I think I will reclamp it, and I'm going to increase the heat. So we're right where we need to be there. So my guess is I'm a little too concentrated on my heat. I'm going to take a rosebud and heat this up a little more on both ends. Yeah, we'll see if it stays right there. Let's see if we gained anything here. That was the problem first time, was just not enough heat to let this metal relax. Yeah, we're sitting pretty solid there. We should be good. So this is the second one. See how it lines out. Actually pretty good right there. I think since we set pretty flat, I think we're going to leave that one as it is. So we're pretty decent. They actually line up pretty nice against each other. Pretty parallel through all this. Plain plane, same plane, a little variation here. I think we're just going to let this set. Next, our braces are going to get mounted up. So these all have a hole that I need to drill for a bolt. And these also are countersunk. Looks like they've been just stepped down with a couple different drill sizes. Maybe an inch and then down to a 3/4. Looks like maybe a 1/2 inch bolt. So I'll try to simulate that and make a set of bolts that'll go through here to hold our braces on. Well, it seems like we should be ready to assemble these rocker assemblies onto the main frame of the body of this coach. Except when I had them set down here, like I do, I noticed something about these braces that go across the main frames of the floorboard here that correlate with these rocker braces. If you can kind of see this, these are bents just with square bends. Well, because this rocker wood is sawn out on a curve so that it settles down into these thoroughbraces, these lean in relation to the curve. If I put a square up to the inside where this internal bend is, I think you can see that this lays to the inside. It doesn't set up square. And it's the same way with all four of these. This one is about 1/4 of an inch. It's a little less severe, but still it needs to come forward. On the other side, this one is much more extreme. This one is closer to 1/2 inch, leaning forward. This one is similar. See, they're all leaning to the inside because of the curvature on the wood on this rocker. So what is happening is the top of these are all at an angle. If I put this wood across here, see, we're contacting here, but what a space we have here, because the top of these irons, because they're at a curve, are laying down like this. So when I put these onto the cross frame of this floorboard, these aren't going to set correctly. And this is the cross frame brace to the front. This is both on the left side. See, we have contact here and here. So they're both setting at an angle. So to get these flattened up to where they sit correctly, I could bend this portion square to where it sets flat. But if I measure from the center of this bolt to the center of this bolt, I should have right there at 33 inches. Well, if I measure from the center of this iron to the center of this iron, I only have 32 inches. That's how much these are leaning in, again because of the curvature. So what I need to do is I need to bend these braces right down here on all four of these to stand these back up to where my spacings here are also at 33 inches to match the bolts on these rocker irons, and that will in turn level these up to where they will sit correctly and bolt securely to the cross frames. So I thought I was ready to assemble these onto the body, but I've got to take all four of these off and straighten these out right down here in this bend to stand these up square. And it's going to be much easier to do it now before I'm laying on my back underneath trying to get these off and straightened up. I'll just pull these off and straighten them up. Now it's possible I might be able to do this without heat. If I just stick these in the vise back on my welding table, in order to stand this up, I need to take this end and twist it this direction, put this kind of a twist in it to get this to stand up straight. For this end to still be contacting the curve, but allowing this to square up. We'll see. That's a lot to twist in that area without any heat. I may have to heat that up. It appears to stand much straighter. I'll do the other side Then we'll measure across and see what we get. I had 32 before. Yeah, see, I'm at 32 and a half. If I stand this other one up, I'll have my 33, which will match the same as the attachment bolt. So that's going to make us the same measurement that we are at the mounting holes. I said 33, we're actually 32 3/4. And up here, we're at 32 3/4. Right there. So if I put our flat plane on there now, yeah, now we're supposed to be. We're actually going to set flat on both of these. Thirty-two 3/4. 32 3/4. That'll work. Well, it kind of seems like it's been a long process to get to this point, but because of this wreck and all the twisting and tweaking of this iron, it's just kind of the process that it took. So I enjoyed kind of showing you some of the things that I go through and straightening things out that have been in a wreck like this, and I hope you find that it's been worthwhile as well. So once again, we're making some headway. Thanks for watching.